Hi, welcome to Grammar with Clarity for Everyone. This is a series of 21 very brief, I'm going to try to make them very brief, video lessons. Each lesson has a particular topic that I'll be covering. And this is not a comprehensive grammar curriculum. This is covering the aspects that are generally pretty tricky for a lot of students, ranging from middle school through high school. So this is appropriate for students 7th grade through 12th grade. A very advanced 6th grader probably, and certainly students in college would find benefit from this if they struggle with grammar. Ideally, if you are a homeschooled student, your parent will be participating and sitting with you through these lessons so that they can help guide you through the continued practice with this. It's important to note that this curriculum is set up to work in conjunction with the IXL program. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here and show you what the IXL main screen looks like on the internet. Okay, here is a screenshot of what you'll see when you log into the IXL learning program and you specifically select 9th grade. You can see along the left-hand side, we've got pre-K all the way down through 12th. And you can select the grade that's appropriate for your student. And as you can see, if you look across the top, there are a lot of different options embedded with this, but for the most part, IXL is going to have practice problems for math and language arts, preschool through 12th grade. Science, social studies, and Spanish they have for different grades. We're going to be focusing on just the language arts aspect. And in particular, we're going to be focusing on the grammar aspect of that. If you look at the top of this, you see there's reading strategies, writing strategies, vocabulary, and grammar and mechanics. We'll be using the grammar and mechanics practice problems after each lesson. Okay, so here you see the grammar and mechanics section for 9th grade. When you go to the language arts portion, you just scroll all the way down to the grammar and mechanics section. If you want to pause the video and take a minute and look at all of the concepts that there are practice problems for once you've done a lesson. It's important to note the distinction between a lesson and the practice problems. IXL does not provide the lessons for the majority of their content yet, but they do provide very good practice problems with immediate feedback. And if a student answers a question incorrectly, it will explain why it was incorrect with a little mini lesson. So that's nice also. I'm trying to get this to pause. Here are the materials that you need to have to be successful through these lessons. So first of all, I'd like you to have a 1/2 inch or a 1-inch binder specifically for these notes that you'll be taking. With each lesson, there'll be at least 1 page of notes. You'll need 30 sheets of college ruled notebook paper. The college ruled aspect is very important. Please don't use a composition book. Please don't use wide ruled paper. The reason is that each page of notes has been thought through, and space-wise, we need to use college ruled regular size notebook paper in order to make everything fit. You need sharpened pencils or pencils with a pencil sharpener handy. Colored pencils, again, you need a pencil sharpener handy, and you need a paid account with IXL. If you're a homeschooled student, some homeschool programs will provide IXL for you at a reduced rate. If you are not a homeschool student, you can get an account with IXL. You can even just get a monthly account. And if you only use this IXL program over the course of the next month while you're working through these videos, it will be money well worth it. So I highly recommend that you get an account with IXL. So I've developed this course so that each of the 21 lessons should be done in one day, and then the practice problems on the same day, immediately following the lesson. Like I said, there are 21. Some of them will be 10 minutes, some of them will be 15, some will be 20. It just depends on how long it takes to get accurate notes, because I don't want to leave anybody wondering, I don't have enough information. With that in mind, I also want to encourage you to use the resources that you have available to you. Most likely you have a good language arts or English curriculum that has a grammar component. Have those handy so that you can use those as an additional resource. We all also have access to the internet, or you wouldn't be watching these videos. Use Google. Google these terms. Take the notes that you're going to make with me, and if you are still confused or you want to add a few more examples, Google these terms. You're going to see so many ways. Everybody kind of explains it slightly differently. So what I'm doing is it is explaining it in a way that I've found students over the years to really be able to connect with these concepts and remember them and then apply them. So my goal here is to make this as simple as possible to understand and for you to retain and apply with confidence in your writing and also in your speaking. So with that in mind, this first video, and I will not do this whole background on every video after this, but this first video, the title of it is going to be Subjects and Predicates. Again, this is a series of videos, so you'll want to watch them in order. The next video will be titled Complete Sentences, Run-on Sentences, and Comma Splices. Video number 3 will be Dependent Clauses and Independent Clauses. Video 4 will be relative clauses, a type of dependent clause. Video 5 will be the difference between a phrase and a clause, and video 6 will be types of phrases. Those are the first 6 that I'm going to identify for you in this first video. So let's go ahead and get going with subjects and predicates. So you need a sheet of college ruled paper, a sharpened pencil, and your colored pencils that are sharpened. For this first lesson, I'd like you to grab your orange color, of course, your sheet of notebook paper, your orange colored pencil, and a pinky purpley colored pencil. Magenta, I think is what mine is called. It's like a dark pink. Okay, we're going to, in the far corner, we're going to go ahead and put a number 1 in a circle. The numbers on the right-hand side are going to indicate the video that it goes with, okay, the lesson. Some lessons will have more than 1 page. At the top of every lesson, we will identify the topic. So the topic for this lesson is going to be subjects and predicates. So you're going to write with large handwriting, subjects and predicates. Okay, now we're going to color code our subjects and predicates. Everything that we talk about with this lesson, if it's related to the subject, we're going to use orange. So let's underline the subject in orange, and the predicates will be that dark pink color. Okay, so what is a subject? Well, I know that you already know what a subject is, but let's just go ahead and define it. A subject of a sentence is going to simply be who or what the sentence is about. Is that going to be a noun? Yes, it is going to be a noun. Does that mean that every noun in a sentence is a subject? It does not. So we have to be careful that we don't get confused and we just pick a random noun and say that must be the subject, okay? So we'll get into that in a minute. Now let's talk about what a predicate is. So a predicate, this is we can call this the action. So we're gonna write the action, the part that contains the verb. And as you know, the verb is the action word, okay? So the predicate contains the action word. In fact, the simple predicate is the action word. It is the verb. Okay, so we're going to now come down a couple of lines. I'd like you to come down 2 lines, 1, 2. And so then you're going to, on your 3rd line down, write the following sentence. My family enjoys walking on mountain trails. Okay, now we're going to talk about the difference between a complete subject and a simple subject. If we're talking about a simple subject, we're talking about a simple subject. We're talking about who or what the sentence is about. So in this case, it is family. So we're going to underline family with one underline. But then what is the complete subject? Well, the complete subject is going to be my family, but we'll pause that for a second. Now let's talk about the predicate. So we have this simple predicate, which is the action word, the verb. And then we have all of the words around it that modify that. So let's look through here and let's see what word is a verb. Well, walking. Would that make sense then that this would be the predicate for this sentence? My family enjoys walking. Okay, well, no, it can't be, because walking modifies what we enjoy. So if we look at this, we say, oh, wait a minute, enjoy is also a verb. Huh. So I have two verbs in this sentence. I have to now determine which one is going to be my simple predicate, my predicate. Well, it's going to be what is the, so we know that the subject is family. Then what is the action of the family? Well, the family enjoys. What are they doing? They enjoy. Okay, so that is going to be our simple predicate. Now, let's see, let's go ahead and draw our double line now. So my family is the complete subject and enjoys walking on mountain trails. That would be our complete predicate. It's what encapsulates our predicate, our simple predicate. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and drop down from family an arrow, and we're going to write simple subject. Please try to match the formatting that I'm doing on the notes. I'm trying to incorporate some good note-taking strategies for you so that by the time we're done with creating this binder of notes, you're going to just kind of feel more confident pulling color, pulling different shapes and symbols in, white space on the paper, different types of font to help you connect with what you're trying to learn. It does help the brain remember. So this is a really important part of these lessons. Please do them exactly as you see me doing them. Okay, so we're said that family is the complete subject. So right above that, with really small letters in the orange, we're going to write complete subject. That's the whole my family. Family itself is the simple subject, okay? And then we're going to drop down from enjoys and we're going to write simple predicate. And the entire thing, we're going to write complete predicate. Okay, so now, the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to remind ourselves that the simple subject is going to be a noun. And the simple predicate is going to be a verb. So if we can remember that, these are basic grammar terms that you learned when you were really little. You started learning about nouns and verbs when you were probably in first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. It was constantly taught. And so you have these in your brain, you know what they are. As we get more advanced, we refer back a little bit to what we know, but trust me, you know these. So we're just using more advanced language here. It's nothing to be stressed out about. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is write this following sentence. I'd like you to skip down one line and start on the next line down. And you're just going to write a quick definition of the complete subject. Okay, so we're going to write the complete subject will include the subject and its modifiers. Okay. Okay, so in orange, we're going to underline the complete subject, and then we're going to double underline subject. What does this word modifier mean? Well, to modify something is to add to it or to adjust it in some way. So a modifier in grammar, these are going to be the words that are surrounding something that help us, that give a clarity to it or that give us more information about it. So that's all that is. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and put an orange box around that. Then we're going to go down a line and we're going to define briefly the complete predicate. So we're going to write the complete predicate will include the predicate and its modifier. So same sentence here, but we're talking about predicate. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and do our color coding. So complete predicate will include the predicate and its modifiers. Okay, now you probably noticed already that the double underline correlates with what we have here and the single underline correlates with what we have here as well. So it all kind of comes together. Okay, now we're going to have one example where I identify to you that plural, can have a plural subject, we can have a plural predicate. So we're going to have a sentence here that has both. So you're going to write the following. Yesterday evening, comma, my daughter and I played games and sang funny songs. And notice how I'm skipping a line here, okay? So I want you to skip a line at this point. Okay, let's identify what's going on in this sentence. First of all, let's pick out our subject. So we know the subject is going to be a noun, right? Yesterday evening, well, my daughter and I played games and sang funny songs. Okay, games is a noun, songs is a noun. But is that who or what the sentence is about? No, my daughter and I. Okay, so we're going to double underline daughter, double underline I. This is called plural subject, plural meaning more than one. There could be more than two. Okay, that's a plural subject. And then the predicate, remember, is the action. The simple predicate is just going to be the verb. So played, that's one thing. And sang, that's another one. Okay, so played and sang. So this would be our plural predicate. Okay, now let's identify the complete subject and the complete predicate. So yesterday evening, my daughter and I, and then played games and sang funny songs. Okay. Okay, well, first we're going to do, before we look at some of the IXL examples, we're going to go ahead and write down the practice problems depending upon the grade level that you're in. If you are in 7th grade, I'd like you to write down Y 2-3. That means section Y, numbers 2 and number 3 are going to apply. If you are in 8th grade, I would like you to write Z, and I'm going to put a line through that so we know it's not the number 2, Z, and then 5 through 7. So that means 5, 6, and 7 are going to have problems that apply to this lesson. And then 9th through 12th graders, IXL does not break down subject and predicate, complete and simple subject and predicate after 8th grade. So if you are in 9th through 12th grade, you will practice these using the 8th grade content. Okay, now you may have a question as to how many of these should I be doing? Well, here's what my recommendation is. My recommendation is that you do 10 correct. And you can choose to do 10 correct total. If you are really like, you know what, you get 10 done, they're correct, you feel like this is super easy, you don't need to do more. But if you're struggling with it, you should probably do more. And you also need to do 10 correct of each one. So 10 correct of 2, 10 correct of 3, 10 correct of 5, 6, and 7. If you need to adjust it based on the time that you have, the day that you're doing this lesson, just adjust it, but don't do any less than 5. So 10 is a good number, 5 is a minimum. Okay, 15 is good, 20 is too much. IXL has what they call a SMART score, and that you get up to like 100% SMART score. You don't have to do that on here. You can if you want to, but you do not have to, okay? I'm just asking you to do, on average, 10 correct of each of the different types. Okay, so here is an example from the 8th grade Z.3. Oh, well, hold on a minute. That doesn't make sense because we just said Z.5. Hold on just a minute here. Okay, I'm so sorry. I made a silly mistake. Go ahead and change, if you're in 8th grade, what you need to change that to is Z2 and 2 through 4. So 2, 3, and 4. So I apologize. I was looking at the wrong column. Okay, so here's an example from the 8th grade one, Z3. It says, select the simple subject. Kaylee moistened her washcloth. So you just have to click on, put your cursor over Kaylee, and then click submit. The reason is that Kaylee, so we could say, okay, in this sentence, we have 2 nouns. We have Kaylee and we have washcloth, and then we have a pronoun, which is the word her, which we know that pronouns reference a noun, okay? So we really have 3 nouns technically. When we're trying to determine the subject of our sentence, we have to think, who or what is this about? Is this sentence about the washcloth? Is the washcloth doing something? Is there something about the washcloth? No, Kaylee is doing something in the sentence. So we cannot select washcloth as the subject. So we have to select Kaylee. Okay. Okay, here's another example from Z.3, also 8th grade. Her assistant organized the piles of paperwork. Notice the directions say select the simple subject. So assistant would be the simple subject, okay? Not her. The sentence is about her assistant. The complete subject would be her assistant, but they just want the simple one. Okay, here's an example from 8th grade, Z.2. And I also would like to point out that even though we have from grades 7 through 12, we'll have different specific practice paths for you, for the most part, they're very similar. So I'll be just kind of doing a blend of different grade levels in my examples. I'm not going to do an example for each grade, but you'll see that it's fine. It will all work out. So this one is saying identify or select the 5 words that make up the complete predicate. So read the directions. The directions tell you exactly how many you need to select. So we would read, the intense heat will evaporate the water quickly. Okay, so first, when we're trying to figure out what the complete predicate is, we need to figure out what is our action in our sentence. So we look for our verb. Okay, well, will evaporate. Okay, so that is our action here. So then the complete predicate is everything around it. Will evaporate the water quickly. So that's how we know that that is a complete. It also gives us a clue when it says the 5 words. Okay, and one last thing that I would like to leave you with before we sign off on this lesson is that when you are doing your practice work on IXL, it's very important that you log in as you, not as your parent account, because when you log in as you, all of the hard work you do is tracked. So your parents can go in and they can see what you've already done, and they can see maybe where you're having some struggles and where you might need a little bit of additional support. If you log in as your parent, none of it gets tracked. So you'll see on my examples that it says parent results are not tracked. That's because I'm logged in as parent on my account. So please make sure that you log in as you every time you go in. Okay, and on that note, good luck to you. And if you are like a real overachiever, feel free to move on to the next lesson. Otherwise, go ahead and log back in and access lesson 2 tomorrow or the day after. But try to keep these, if not every day, for the range of time, for the range of 21 working days, at least every other day, so that we can keep these concepts fresh. Each one is going to build on the next for the most part.